Okay, so this is going to be a brief overview for floor footprints that are not a uniform square or rectangle. So once again, our blue section is going to be our readouts, and our yellow section will be where we input our information. The only information we need in our blue section is what we want to do an estimation and takeoff for, right? So just click the different categories that you want to do a material takeoff and estimation for. So we're going to just kind of choose all of them for now. In our yellow section, right, the only colors that we enter information in are light blue and white. Light blue will be a drop-down menu, and white will be areas where you have to enter information in manually. All right, so let's use this as an example, this addition, right? So this is not a uniform square. So what we're going to have to do is break it up into sections, floor sections, right? So we'll break this up into 3 different floor sections. This will be 1, this will be section 2, and this will be section 3. If we go over here, our yellow input section, we see we have up to 3 sections that we can input for, right? We scroll over to the right, we'll see this is the area where we put in our rim joists or band joists. This is where we'll put in our mud sills, and right here is where we'll put in our girders, right? If we have any mid-span supports that are girders, right? So looking at this as an example, we're going to see we have joists running this way. We're going to have a girder here, a girder here, and a girder here, right? These will all be supported by wooden posts, right? Our mud sills are going to be the entire perimeter as well as our band joists or rim joists. So our rim joists will just be at the ends of our joists, right? So they'll be right here. They'll just be these 4 lengths. So let's go ahead and get started. Our first section, you can see, is going to be this section right here. This is going to be 14 feet wide and 38 feet long, right? So if we scroll up here, this is where we're going to see our floor layouts, right? House length will always be perpendicular to our joist, telling us how many joists we're going to have, and the house width will be the kind of telling us how long our joists are going to be, right? So looking at this floor framing, you can see we just have 1 joist that's spanning the entire width of this section with a mid-span support that is a girder, right? So that's going to be layout 2, right? 1 joist spanning the entire width with a mid-span support. So first thing we do is select our flooring layout, which is going to be layout 2. Our joist dimensions are going to be 2, let's go 2 by 10s. House length will be 38 feet. House width will be 14 feet. Do we have any? This is only going to be 1 floor, so we don't check these boxes. We'll frame this 16 on center, so we don't have to check any of this. And do we want to add any extra joists here? If we do, right, there's going to be a load-bearing wall right here. So maybe we want to, and you can see there's little instructions that says double up floor joist that wall. So let's just add an extra floor joist to double up that that joist right there underneath the wall. Okay, so section 2 is going to be this section right here, right? And you can see joists are going to be running this. Joists are going to be running this way, and so this will be our width, which will be 14 feet 4 inches, and our length. Sorry, this is going to be our length, which is going to be 14 feet 4 inches, and our width will be 11 feet 1 inches. So 14 feet 1 inch and 11 feet 1 inch. Okay, for framing layout, right, we're going to have these joists, right? You can see, I don't know if you can see it too much in this diagram, but we're going to have floor joists resting on this girder, kind of being supported in the middle by a girder. So that, once again, if we scroll up here, it's just going to be 1 joist spanning the entire width of this section with a mid-span support, so that'll be layout 2. So if you just enter in the house length and house width without selecting this information up top, it'll alert you, say, hey, you need to enter a joist dimension. So we're going to go layout 2. Our joist dimension is going to be 2 by 10s, and we can leave this blank. Oh, we'll add 1 for this wall. We want to double up this joist right here in this wall. So our third and last section will be this section. This will just be 1 joist that spans the entire length. I wouldn't frame it up this way, but this is just, we're going to go by how the plans are, just for the sake of this example. So this will be our house width, right? And our house width, or that section width, is going to be 14 feet 5 inches, and our length will be 7 feet 4. So we go floor framing layout is going to be layout 1, right? Because layout 1 is just going to be joist span the entire section without a midspan support. Joist dimension is going to be 2x10s. House length we said was going to be 7 foot 4. House width will be 14 feet 5. So you can see it's already populated how many joists we need, right? And the amount right here. So next thing we're going to do is select our rim joists. So our rim joists are just going to be at the ends, our band joists are going to be at the ends of our joists, right? So it's going to be these measurements right here, 7 feet 4, 7 feet 1, 23 feet 10, and 38 feet. So we can just enter those in. First we select our dimensions, which will be the same as our joists. You know, so we're going to have 38 feet, let's call it 39, 14 feet, 11 feet, 7 feet, right? Our mud sills, right, are going to be are going to be the entire perimeter of this addition. So we can go ahead and enter in all this information. I'm not going to go and do all that because we don't need to kind of do all that time, but I'll just enter in a few measurements. Let's just go 39 feet, 39 feet, and 7 feet, right? Select our size. We'll do 2'8" PT. So we'll go 39 feet, 39 feet, 7 feet, and 14 feet. If you want to double mud sills, you click that right there, right? So we scroll over here, we can see that we have all our lumber we need so far. All we're missing is our girder or posts. So we can see we're going to have 2 girders. It's going to be, this will be 1 girder, this will be a 2nd girder. So the length of this girder will be pretty much the length of the house. So we'll go 39 feet. The girder dimension, we're going to do 2x10s. And if you have a question about this, just, these question marks will link to videos that will go in depth further about this section. The number of members in our girder are going to be how many of these 2x10s are we going to be fastening together. So for this example, you can see we have 1, 2, 3. So this will be how wide our girder is. Essentially, how many boards wide is this? So we'll go 3 2x10s will be our girder. Our girder posts are going to be the posts that are supporting our girder. So that will be, we'll use 6x6 PT. Girder post height, since this is a crawl space, we'll say it's about 2 feet 4 off our posts off the ground. Number of posts in the field will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So we put that in there. Now, number of posts at end of the girder means, is there going to be any posts at the ends of our girder, right? And the reason that's important is because a lot of times we won't have posts at the end of our girder, right? They'll sit in a masonry pocket. So if this is sitting in a masonry pocket and there's not a post right here, we just put 0. So the reason we don't combine these two is because the number of posts in the field is used to calculate our length in between posts. And let's say we think 8 feet is too big of a span for our posts, we can just add another post. Say that brings it down to 6.5. So our second girder, you would just enter in the information as well, just like we did. And now we scroll right. You can see we have all the information we need. You have a joist, rim joist, mud sills, girder, and posts, right? And it's really as simple as that. So the next section we would do is move down to our material list right here, where we would input the material if we want to do an estimation for subfloor, flooring, insulation, and things like post-based anchors and post bases. So there'll be a question mark right here. You can click that, and that will go in depth further about this section right here.